Education to order. And at this time, I will ask Dr. Doyle if she would do a roll call, please, of the Board of Education.
Good evening, Chairman, Vice Chair, members of the board. Ms. Frances Boomer,
Here.
Ms. Naomi Clark, Mr. Carol Ipock,
Present.
Ms. Stephanie King,
Here.
Ms. Kelly Muse,
Here.
Ms. Beatrice Smith,
Here.
Ms. Kimberly Smith.
Here.
Chairman, we have 7 members present, 0 absent. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the board's agenda? If there are none, we ask for a motion to adopt the December 15th, 2020 Board of Education meeting agenda.
Madam
So
Chairman, I move that we adopt the agenda.
All right. Has been moved in second that we adopt the agenda. Let it be known, those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. For our meeting startups tonight, we're going to quickly review our vision, our mission, and our mission, a vision of what we are driven by. This is what our guide, and we worked very hard to make sure that we live up to our vision, our mission, and our goal, especially the Board of Education vision as well. And it says, we envision a public education system that challenges all students as learners and prepares them to imagine and create a successful life, values educators, and empowers them to inspire and spark innovation in every student, leads in education and community engagement, and invites all students, their families, and all members of the community to work together to support public education to the benefit of our students, our community, our nation, and our world. The Craven County School mission is together, and that we put emphasis on the word together with our families and community. Craven County Schools would educate all learners to personal, professional, and civic success through challenging and personalized instruction. The Board of Education vision, we are a high-functioning, purpose-driven board leading personalized and systemic path to success for students, staff, and community. For our plus and delta, our delta, we would like to say that we did have an opportunity to improve the sound quality since our last meeting. For our core values, what we value so much, our system perspective, we have visionary leadership, student-centered excellence, organization, learning, and agility, valuing people, focus on success, managing for innovation, management by fact, societal responsibility, delivering value and results, ethics and transparency. And at this time, I would ask Vice Chairman Kimberly Smith to review the ground rules and the bin item process at this time.
Thank you, Chairman Boomer. Our ground rules are to post and approve the agenda, to listen as an ally. One person speaks at a time, respect each other, no sidebars. Everyone participates, stay on task, start and stop on time, schedule appropriate breaks, evaluate at the end of each meeting, and to make sure all of our electronic devices are on vibrate or silent. The bin item process, just remind everybody, if you have an off-task thought, put it on a sticky note, put it out in the front, and Chairman Boomer will make sure that it's addressed before the meeting is over. Our safety procedures, if we were to have a fire, we're going to split the room in half. If you're on my right, we're going to go out this door into the parking lot if it's a fire. To my left, we'll go out next door to the furniture store. Same thing for tornado, except we'll go into the interior hallway and get down, cover our heads for tornado. If we were to have an intruder, we would lock down this room if possible, but we would alert the building, lock down if possible, inform the police, whoever can do that. If the person is in the room with us, we're going to counter to the best of our abilities, and we'll evacuate if possible.
Thank you. Did you do Alice?
Yes.
Okay. We do, at this time, we would like to recognize, this is the opportunity where we recognize our elected officials and dignitaries if they are present with us. And We would like to thank those who are listening in to us tonight on Zoom, or listening in. We appreciate you're taking interest to see what we're doing as a school board. We would also like to say congratulations to Mrs. B. Smith, who is leaving us. It's a bittersweet, but
Leaving you as person, but not at car.
that's right.
My heart will always be with you, and I will work to continuously improve the work of Craven County Board of Education.
Thank you, and we know that you will do that, and so we are very thankful for that.
And thank you very much for these lovely flowers. I thought that would be later, but thank you so much.
Thank you. We would like to recognize our Craven County School Principal of the Year, Ms. Claudia Casey, who is the principal of Tucker Creek Middle School. We would like to recognize our Teacher of the Year, Gail Hardy, one of our teachers at New Bern High School, our Military Liaison, Mrs. Leopold Palmer, our Craven County School Military Liaison Counselor, Mrs. Valerie Nasser, our Partners in Education Executive Director, Mrs. Darlene Brown, and all our principal and staff. At this time, we will ask our board attorney, Mr. Brian Gatchell, if he would offer our invocation for the meeting tonight.
Board members, if you please pray with me. Lord of us all, we give you thanks for giving us another day. Send your spirit of wisdom upon the members of the Board of Education as they move toward the completion of their work in this calendar year. After a long year of stress in our county and nation due to a plague which continues to swell, give them the resolve to address the needs of all our citizens and communities. Bless those many heroic men and women who continue to labor at great danger to themselves to care for those who suffer from COVID. Bring healing to those who do suffer and comfort those who mourn the loss of so much this past year. Lord, have mercy. May all that is done this day by this Board of Education be for your greater honor and glory. Amen.
Amen. At this time, we will ask our Ms. Myra Flower, our administrative assistant to the superintendent, if she would lead us with the Pledge of Allegiance. We're asking everybody to please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, our character word and our core value for December. And we would like to thank our students from Farm Life Elementary for doing this for us tonight. Our students who are participating: Cedric Hermans, Aubrey Mostachia, Isaiah Carr, J.C. James, Chloe Garcia, all are from Vanceboro Farm Life Elementary School. And the character word for the month is caring. And the Craven County core value this month is student-centered excellence. So are we ready for our presentation from them? Okay.
What it means to be a caring person is when you see someone struggling and you offer them help. You make the time to listen and understand when a person is upset. Caring for other people makes them feel better and can make anyone smile, even if it is just helping a friend put away her toys. Being a caring person helps everyone. I personally like being a caring person because I like making my family, my friends and my family feel happy and not like they are alone. I love seeing people with a smile on their faces.
Hi, my name is Isaiah, and I'm going to be telling you what I think it takes to be a good student. You have to show respect, you have to be kind to your teachers and others. You have to show the same habits, and you have to seek first to understand and to be understood. Let me elaborate on that. Say if someone needs something or needs your help, you can help them instead of just barging into the conversation. You can wait and let them ask if they want your input or not. Then you'll be able to know what you should say next instead of just barging in. Say if your teacher needs help or if someone needs help, you can help them instead of just sitting there doing nothing. It's good to help people, and you should also help yourself. But it's sometimes better if you help someone else. And that's what I think it takes to be a good student.
Being caring is being kind. Caring is making someone smile. Sharing with your friends and making people feel good. Caring is doing something nice for someone, like giving someone a big hug when they had a bad day, or holding the door open for someone. Caring means not being selfish and helping someone. Merry Christmas.
Hi everybody, my name is Cedric and I'm going to be talking about being caring. So first of all, what caring means to me is like to be helpful to others and to show kindness. And another way of saying that is treat others how you want to be treated. Like if I push somebody on a swing, he would do it too, but I wouldn't do that. So if I don't push somebody on a swing, nobody would do that to me. Okay, goodbye.
This is what caring means to me. Caring starts with you and me, then it spreads like bumblebees. Keep reaching out your hands, there's always room for another. Share your laughs, share your hugs, even share your happiness. But don't give it all away. We rise by lifting others. So why wait until tomorrow? Be a friend and listen to the sorrow. We'll be there for each other. Be positive, encouraging, respectful, understanding, or just be kind. I promise you, it won't cost a dime. Never stop caring. Something so small could mean the world to all. Bye.
Not only was it informative, it was also beautiful and really put us into the Christmas mood as well. We would like to thank Farm Life, our students, for that wonderful presentation. And at this time, we have some certificates for them, do we? And so we're going to present those and there's no one here to receive them. So how are we going to do that?
So we'll just send them to them at their
Okay.
schools and we'll mail them home.
We do have some beautiful certificates for you, and we hope that you will enjoy them and remember how you experienced doing this for the school, for the Board of Education, and for everyone who was listening in and all the students as well. And so we appreciate you all doing that. It was wonderful, well presented. And at this time, we will turn the meeting over to Ms. Kim Smith, and she will facilitate the student, staff, and community recognitions for the December 2020 Board of Education meeting.
Thank you, Chairman Hill. Tonight, we only have one recognition. It's in the staff recognitions. And I'll call on Ms. Beatrice Smith to recognize our 2020-2021 Henry County Schools Principal of the Year.
Thank you. On November 3rd, 2020, during the surprise announcement, Dr. Eleanor Patrick, Principal of Oaks Road Academy, was named the 2020-2021 Principal of the Year for Craven County Schools. In her role as Principal of the Year, she will serve as the local advisor to the Board of Education and will represent Craven County Schools in local, regional, and state events. Dr. Patrick was one of 6 finalists that interviewed with a local selection committee on November 2nd. During the selection process, Dr. Patrick shared her journey at Oaks Road Academy by saying, "Upon my arrival at Oaks Road Elementary School, I found staff members discouraged and doubtful. Dr. Patrick engaged in staff members in the work of redesigning a school and began putting instructional measures in place to ensure student success. Within 1 year, student performance improved in the areas of science and math proficiency, and the school met growth. Oaks Road has consistently met growth for the past 4 years. Dr. Patrick is quick to point out, although we are not satisfied with growth alone, we understand that student growth is the beginning of reaching greater proficiency." Dr. Patrick also discussed the importance of forming relationships. She stated, "Establishing relationships with families and community members is at the heart of Oaks Road. Continuous efforts are made to invite parents and families into the school through such programs as bringing your parents to school day, parent lunch and learning activities, and the Title I Parent Night. Keeping teachers in the school is the heart of the work of Dr. Eleanor Patrick. She shared her philosophy of getting and keeping great teachers by sharing. What keeps a great teacher at a school is structured, sustained, intensive professional development programs that allow new teachers to observe others and to be observed by others, and to be a part of a network where all teachers share together, grow together, and learn to respect each other's work. Tonight, we would like to congratulate Dr. Eleanor Patrick for a very deserved recognition. We are proud of her and all that she has accomplished as she supports Oaks Road's hours in reaching success. So tonight, board members, we are going to ask you, in the absence of the Oaks Road hours, to say what her students would say on this occasion. Hoot!
Hooray!
We thank you, Dr. Patrick, for the good work that you were doing for Craven County Schools.
I came in last, so I'm gonna say hoot, hoot, hooray. And at this time, we're going to ask Vice Chairman Kimberly Smith to provide a summary of the information and presentation shared at the December 15th, 2020 work session that was conducted this morning, beginning at 8:30.
Thank you. You getting
I
it up?
gotta drop it.
I'm trying something different.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're gonna see, and y'all can tell me if you hate it, but, okay.
Gotta take my camera.
I'm thinking it'll go quicker once it gets up, though. I mean, but. We'll see how.
Yes. And it will be in the agenda, just.
Okay, so today at the work session summary, I'm gonna walk through it this way for two reasons, because that way I can read without my glasses fogging up once he gets it up there. I'll start with the fun stuff. We picked our 2020 holiday card winner, so let's give them a round of applause. Next one, please. These are the items. I grouped them by things that were moved to consent agenda, things that were for information only, and things that we're taking action on tonight. So if you'll notice, these are the items that we moved to consent agenda. For the public, that means that we're gonna blanket vote all of them together tonight, that we had a unanimous agreement on them, and these items were moved forward to our consent agenda, and you'll hear us take action on them later. The first was the Gizmo grant proposal presented by Director of Digital Learning, Kelly Williamson. We were all really excited about that and the gaps that it'll fill in learning for our students. Traditional calendar minor revision regarding remote learning days, February 15th and March 15th. There's no impact for students. This was recommended by Dr. Tasha Diggs, Assistant Superintendent of Academic Services. Update COVID-19 communication process. We approved that as recommended by Jennifer Wagner, Director of Public Relations, and she did that after consultation with principals, nurses, and cabinet. And then we approved the 5-year facility request to be sent to DPI as presented by Mr. Jeremy Russell, Director of Facility Services. Those are all on consent agenda. The next one, please. Okay, these were items only for information, so we didn't have to take action on them. We reviewed the Plan B transition process for secondary students. For the public out there, as of yesterday, I guess when they put the numbers in, there were 1,239 additional students in secondary schools who are now attending more than one day, anywhere from 2 to 4 days, as presented by Dr. Tasha Diggs. Information on student achievement during the pandemic as presented by Dr. Diggs and Michelle Lee as well, Assistant Superintendent for Strategic Planning and Continuous Improvement. I do want to go back up to Plan B though. Those students are still in, to remind the public, the 2 to 4 days, they are still within the all of the COVID protocols and 50% capacity. So those are at the schools where those things can still be met. Information on how attendance is measured and encouraged during the pandemic was presented by Dr. Diggs and Michelle Lee as well. And then we had general discussion around improved transparency at all levels, including the board level. And then last, we move forward for action tonight, which you'll hear us discuss and take action on tonight, the transition to 6-week grading periods for traditional high school second semester, as recommended by Superintendent Dr. Megan Doyle, and our Human Resources Report number 6, December 20th, as recommended by Dr. Wendy Miller, Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources. And now we are here tonight.
Great job. I think we like the new way of doing it.
Okay, great.
We are visual, you know, we talk about visual learners today, and so that's a great visual.
Then I will keep that up.
So we like that.
Okay.
Thank you for a job well done. Now we ask Dr. Miller, Assistant Superintendent for Human Resource. She recommends that the Board of Education approve the Human Resource Service Report number 6 for December 2020. There she is, coming in like Miss America.
This is a report I presented earlier today, report 6 for December 2020. And I believe that you needed a roll call vote. Was there a reason it was not moved to consent? Any other questions you have that you did not have this morning? Thank you. That's all I have then.
Dr. Dove, you conduct the roll call for us, please.
Certainly. Ms. Frances Boomer,
I have to recuse myself.
Ms. Naomi Clark,
Yes.
Mr. Carol Ipock,
Yes.
Ms. Stephanie King,
Yes.
Ms. Kelly Muse,
Yes.
Ms. Beatrice Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Kimberly Smith.
Yes.
We have 6 members, yes, 1 recused. The motion passes.
Thank you.
That's all I have. Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now we go to break. That break.
Well, Ms. Smith wants a break, but it is on the schedule.
Well, I mean, I'm just looking.
No,
at
we
the schedule.
no. We will, at this time, we will take a 10 minutes break. So it is 6:26. 6:40.
Madam Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
if it's agreement with other board members, I suggest that we continue.
I'm good with
Okay with that.
Can we get a thumbs up?
Yeah.
Thumbs up, we continue.
it.
Thank you.
Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, we've already had a 10-minute break. We enjoyed it. Now we're ready back. Okay, Ms. Smith. Are there any citizen requests to address the Board of Education during this public input period?
We do have one. We have Ms. Jennifer O'Neill, and Ms. Wagner has gone over all of the rules, of the meeting, and how public input is given. So she's prepared to speak with us.
All right. I would like to read this for, Ms. Gill, just get ready to speak, all right? Speakers will address the board from the speaker's podium at the front of the room and will begin their remarks by stating their name and address. Speakers are expected to be civil in their language and presentation. Public comment is not intended to require the board to answer any impromptu questions. However, the board, in accordance with its policy, will include a discussion of public input, at which time the board may discuss issues raised in the public comment portion of the meeting. Thank you.
My name is Jennifer O'Neill. My address is 3400 NC Highway 43 in Dansboro. That's calling me for basics. So good evening. My name is Jennifer O'Neill. I'm here to speak as a now former educator in Craven County. While I'm no longer a teacher in Craven County schools, I am a resident of Craven County and a parent, and therefore have a vested interest in the quality of our schools and the well-being of our educators. Craven County's best resources, our educators, are being squandered. Between micromanagement and a never-ending task list, educators are not provided with opportunities for true growth, or when opportunities arise, they tend to go to the same handful of people. When asked by school administration or county level administration to discuss issues within the school, many feel that they cannot speak out for fear of retaliation, or they feel that their input is ignored. This is not an environment that is conducive to effective teaching. Therefore, it is not an environment that is conducive to effective learning. At one board spotlight meeting at my school, a teacher asked the board members why they felt teacher retention was such a problem in Craven County. The response was that it comes down to the teacher's attitude. No real discussion of the issues that plague our schools, no recognition that workload, environment, and leadership shape attitudes, just the teacher's attitude. But the people who are leaving are some of the same people who are dropping off food at kids' houses because they don't have anything in the house, or the same people who are buying kids shoes because they don't have them at home, or clothes because they don't have clothes that fit properly or are all in one piece. Or these are teachers who worked really hard to be there for their students in real, tangible ways. They're the ones who pushed their students to do a little bit better, try a little bit harder, and got results. Those people are leaving too. So how is it that a board member can chalk everything up to the teacher's attitude? It's part and parcel of this idea that if we care about our students, we won't leave. If we care about our students, we will put one more thing on our plates. Teacher retention is one of the biggest issues we have here in Craven County, and it's one that we're actually asked about quite a bit as teachers. There's a goal team dedicated to retention at the school level that specifically seeks to learn more about teacher job satisfaction. My background is in social science research, so when placed on this goal team, I wrote a survey and distributed it to the teachers in my school. The results showed that a quarter of the teachers in that building have mid to low job satisfaction. Given that a lot of things can go into job satisfaction, I asked a series of questions about feeling supported, being valued as a professional, and feedback being valued at the coworker, school administration, and county administration levels. Just 40.91% responded that they felt their feedback was valued by county level administrators. For comparison, that's about 30% lower than they felt for their in-building school administration. The other metrics, being valued by as a professional and feeling supported, followed the same trend, with the county level metrics never breaking that 41% point. It's of note also that half of the teachers in that building have considered seeking other employment this year, with the top 3 contributing factors being stress level, workload, and COVID-19 in that order. When asked what the most pressing concerns are in regards to teacher satisfaction and teacher retention, the comments included things like, there's always one more thing. No matter how hard you work and try to make ridiculous deadlines, your reward is always being told it was not good enough. Not all staff are held to the same standards. It seems that only certain teachers get recognized for achievements around the school. Constantly having our contract brought up and thrown in our faces is extremely discouraging and frustrating. Constant barrage of expectations outside of school hours without any type of compensation. Micromanaging, teachers being seen as hourly paid temp workers with no education or experience versus being seen as a qualified or intelligent professional. There are also several mentions of student discipline when students are in the building, which is another barrier to effective teaching and learning. A lack of discipline issues may very well be the silver lining in 2020. This year has been full of unprecedented changes, and by and large, the teachers in this county have risen to every challenge that has been thrown their way. I doubt that anyone here could actually make a list of everything teachers are tasked with. And if you could, you would likely see that it's far too much for just one person. Besides being overburdened, change is often immediate and seemingly arbitrary. For example, just before school started, middle and high school teachers were informed that we would no longer be able to use Google Classroom, that everything would be run through the Canvas learning management system. Google Classroom was the LMS platform that most teachers, and therefore most of our students, were familiar with. Given that we were entering a school year that looked nothing like anything before, being able to work in an LMS that didn't require extensive training for most teachers would likely have been a better decision. As far as Craven Live goes, I do think we were lucky to have the infrastructure for Craven Live being built ahead of COVID, and that we were able to be up and on our feet, running and faster and running more so than our surrounding counties. But there are some issues. There were people who were selected who aren't particularly tech savvy. Families are still confused as to how to monitor their students' progress, even after teachers' best efforts to provide guidance. Teachers are frequently held accountable for student performance when they have little to no accountability at home. And when parents complain, the assumption is frequently that the teacher has not done their due diligence. Craven Live is also not treated as a separate unit with different needs than the Plan B students. Go on, thank you. Allowing the Craven Live teachers to develop and stick with a concept or schedule is necessary for success, and that has not happened. It almost feels as if it's not being given the chance to thrive intentionally. The health and well-being of the teachers and our families also seems to many to not be a concern. I saw one of my coworkers have a full-blown panic attack in the parking lot of our school because she was so scared to go inside the building. Another coworker with serious medical concerns, including being immunocompromised, was told that she couldn't work from home because it would cause an undue burden on the school. It was actually suggested to her that she go ahead and submit resignation. A lot of people were submitting resignation. They would come back the next year. So for somebody who had major health issues, the suggestion from the county level was lose your job, lose your income, lose your insurance. Yeah, there's a mistrust that teachers will be protected during COVID in the sense that decisions are being made on staffing needs rather than or as well as exposure. Essentially, the same issue runs as an undercurrent to many of the problems in Craven County schools. Teachers are not treated as professionals and allowed to handle their own classrooms, and instead are hamstrung constantly by changes and arbitrary rules that are not conducive to effective student learning. Feedback is requested but not heard, particularly by the county level administration, which includes our board. Teachers caring for our students is taken for granted and worse, used as a tool to extract one more drop of our labor and one more drop of our soul. Even when asked for feedback, lessons aren't learned, nothing seems to change. The same people are trotted out to the board and the community, but their voices are strategically left out of the conversation. There is a lack of trust that must be remedied if things are going to get better. My fear tonight is that you dismiss what I'm saying as a bitter ex-teacher and just go on with business as usual. That would be a mistake. I am not bitter. I got to work with some of the most incredible people that I have ever known. I have made friends whom I adore, and I had the supreme privilege of teaching my amazing, beautiful, weird in the best way middle schoolers. But I'm also here because you are wasting your best talents. The teachers' backs are being broken, their love for students is being exploited, and it's time to stop taking them for granted and actually listen to what they have to say and to stop retaliation when it's reported. Anything less than that is genuinely unacceptable and ultimately hurts the student, and they are why we are all here. Where teachers thrive, students thrive. Thank you for your time tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
We have heard those concerns, and so we would certainly look into that and see what we can do in areas that we can improve. So we appreciate that. And at this time, we will call on Mrs. Altman, who would introduce us to the auditors.
Sarah, did you get all that? Yeah.
I'll take this down so you can hear me. Josh Puryear. Yeah. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Merry Christmas. It's so nice to see you in person.
Yes.
I feel like we don't get to see each other enough anymore. And so tonight, in the long list of things that are unusual about 2020, we're doing our presentation just a little bit different. Our audit report is a draft audit report because we have received money for COVID, CARES Act funding, and the federal government has not yet released the compliance supplements that the auditors need to test that funding. So basically what we have completed all of our audit procedures. Everything is done. There are no findings in the audit. The only outstanding issue is that the auditors, once they receive the compliance supplements, will have to test the funding that we spent that was CARES Act money to make sure that everything in that area was done as it should be. We do not anticipate any issues. We've received so many documents and Q&As about how we can and cannot spend the funds, and we try to be extremely careful based on all of those documents. So we have tonight a virtual presentation. This is a first. And we have Josh Puryear and Tyler Beatty from Dixon Hughes Goodman that are going to present to you a summary of the audit report for fiscal year end June 30th, 2020. If you have any questions, I'm sure they'll be happy to answer them. There is a draft report that is included in the board agenda for you. And if you would like a copy of the PowerPoint, I can send that to you as well. And at this point, I'm just going to turn it over to them and let them give you the actual presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for the introduction, Denise. Before I get started, just can we confirm that you all can hear me and that you can see the PowerPoint slide on the screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, so we're happy to be with you all tonight, albeit in a virtual environment. My name is Josh Puryear, and I'm an assurance manager with Dixon Hughes Goodman, who conducts the financial statement and compliance audit of Craven County Schools. Along with myself in the presentation is Tyler Beatty, who is the senior manager on the engagement. Before we get started into the material, I'd like to take a moment to thank Denise Altman and the finance team for the assistance they've provided during this year's audit. This year's presented many challenges to the audit process, and the finance team has done an excellent job of working through these issues to help us complete our testing in a timely manner. You should have received copies of the draft comprehensive annual financial report, which will be discussed in the presentation. Here's a quick overview of the agenda we'll be going through. We'll start off with an audit status update because, as Denise noted, we are presenting the statements in draft form tonight. We will then move to a review of the planned communication to the board and the financial highlights. Lastly, we'll conclude with a review of the compliance audit. We'll start off with the audit status update. So a single audit of a government which receives state and federal funding is comprised of a financial statement audit and a compliance audit. The compliance audit consists of testing compliance requirements of state and federal funding over certain thresholds. We have completed our financial statement audit test work, including obtaining the necessary reviews from our partner and engagement quality reviewer. We have not yet been able to complete the compliance piece of our single audit, as we've not yet received the CARES Act compliance supplement addendum from the Office of Management and Budget. These supplements detail out the compliance requirement that the auditor is required to test for a particular funding source. This supplement, which would be for the PRC 125 funds that the board received, was originally slated to be provided in the fall. However, there have been multiple delays in the release of this supplement at the OMB level. The most recent update we received indicated to expect the supplement addendum before the end of the holidays. We have completed preliminary testing of this funding based upon our understanding of the compliance requirements. Further, we have a plan in place to wrap up the remaining testing as soon as possible once the supplement addendum is provided. It should be noted that we have reached out to the North Carolina Local Government Commission, who noted they are not accepting any audits where this funding source is required to be tested until the supplement addendum is provided. As such, I just wanted to make particular note that this is an issue statewide and not at all specific to Craven County Schools. We're confident and believe that our testing will promptly be completed once a supplement is provided, but ultimately the final release timeline of the audit will be driven by the supplement release date. Now we'll move on to our planned communications report. So there are various aspects of the audit process that are required to be communicated to the board. These would be any significant estimates or sensitive disclosures. We have identified these as being the useful lives of depreciable assets and the proportionate share of the net pension and net OPEB liabilities for the retirement plans. Any difficulties or disagreements with management we had during the audit would be required to be communicated in this report. Thankfully, we had no difficulties or disagreements with management to report. Also, any uncorrected misstatements, we would communicate any identified misstatements that management elected not to make. We did have certain journal entries which were proposed by us and recorded by management. However, there were no unrecorded misstatements. Lastly, representations made by management. Upon completion of the audit, you will receive a communications report, which will include the management representation letter that will be signed by management, where you will be able to see the representations that were given to us during the course of the audit. Next, we'll move on through the financial highlights. So here we're going to present in graphical form a visual representation of each funding source for each of the prior 3 years, starting with revenues from the general and other locals funds, which is indicated in the orange bar in the graph, which decreased by 4.3 million when compared to the prior year. This fluctuation was primarily caused by the 6.1 million in state funding received in the prior year to cover Hurricane Florence damage costs, which weren't present in the current year. There was also an increase of 811,000 in county appropriations and increases of 611,000 in Medicaid funding. Expenses in these funds decreased 7.5 million compared to the prior year, resulting in an increase in fund balance of 2.3 million. Next, state public school fund revenues, shown in the dark blue bar on the graph, are the largest funding source of the board. This funding decreased slightly by 261,000 compared to the previous year. State public school fund allotments are based on ADM data. Also of note, there was an increase to the state salary schedule and an increase in the retirement and other benefit rates. These increases have to be funded with local dollars for employees not employed or not paid with state or federal funding. Lastly, federal funding, shown in the light blue bar, decreased around 30,000, primarily related to a decrease in special education funding, which was consistent statewide. Next, we'll move to this next slide, which will give you a visual representation of where monies are being spent each year. You'll notice that the board spent around 77% on instructional services, with the remaining 23% being spent on operational services. The decrease in percentage of instructional from the prior year was related to the previously mentioned hurricane remediation costs, which would have increased the proportion of system-wide support expenditures for that year. Absent extraordinary items, we would expect consistency from year to year in this allocation, with the greatest proportion possible being allocated to instructional services. This next slide details the fund balances for the prior 3 years for the general and other local funds. Combined fund balance has increased 2.3 million as referenced previously. The available for appropriation amount shown in the orange bar has increased in correlation with the total fund balance, with slight adjustments for additional inventories and stabilizations that must be reserved for. The unassigned fund balance shown in the light blue bar increased by 521,000 due to an increase in the amounts appropriated for subsequent years expenditures of 1.2 million and amounts assigned to special programs of 687,000. Moving on, this next slide will give you a percentage representation of fund balance as a percentage of expenditures. Fund balance available for appropriation when converted to days represents 34 days of operating expenditures, and unassigned fund balance when converted to days represents 18 days of operating. It's important for the board to take a pointed approach when there's a decision to utilize fund balance. Our general recommendation is that fund balance should not be used to pay for recurring expenditures, and a plan should be put in place to build it back up when spent. Also, it should be noted that there are no state mandated thresholds for fund balance. Lastly, here's a brief snapshot of the school food service fund. Cash in this fund has increased by 927,000 when compared to the prior year. The liabilities presented are significantly comprised of the net pension liability and net OPEB liabilities. Revenues increased 2.3 million, while food costs and personnel expenses increased 883,000 and 885,000 respectively. The increase in revenues was due to an increase of 2.6 million in federal reimbursements due to the fund operating out of the summer food service program during the COVID-19 pandemic. We'll transition to the compliance piece. So as we noted previously, in addition to our financial statement audit, we also conduct a compliance audit over federal and state programs which are deemed to be major. The criteria for determining a major program is set by auditing standards and is based upon various testing and coverage thresholds. Based on our analysis, we noted three federal major programs which were required to be audited. These were the Title I grants, Impact Aid, and the Coronavirus Relief Fund. We have no reportable findings as a result of these testings, the testing of these programs as of today. Next, we also noted 3 state programs which are deemed to be major and required to be audited. These were the State Public School Fund, Career and Technical Education, and the State COVID-19 Supplemental Funds. Also, we have no reportable findings as resulting of our testing of these programs as of today. That wraps up the material portion of our presentation. So we'd like to take a moment to thank the board and then open it up to any questions you might have.
Does anyone have any questions?
The question I usually ask at this time each year is, what is the level, the percent of fund balance that the counties in North Carolina are required to carry?
As I briefly mentioned, at the school district level, there is no percentage requirement as there is at the county level. So the short answer is there's not a requirement. I think it's typically around 6% at the county level, but there's not a school district requirement.
There is a requirement for the counties, and that is 6%.
I believe so. I don't quote me on that, but I believe it's around 6%.
I was thinking it was 8.
I was remembering
Okay.
8%
Okay.
for counties. And
Okay.
we, like counties, have to be fiscally responsible and have sufficient funds to take care of unusual situations like hurricanes, which we've used fund balance for in the past, COVID, which came out of the blue, and things of that nature. So it has been our practice to carry a reasonable, reflective of what is called on by the counties, a fund balance for the school system.
Any more questions? Thank you, Mr. Alpert. Thank you, Ms. Oakland.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Appreciate
so
that.
much.
I will ask, is this for approval or for information?
Just information because it's in draft
That's
form
what I
because
was
of those
asking.
federal
Okay, so it's just
tests.
information. I didn't want to include the draft.
Okay, so we come to Dr. Gore for recommendation for the approval of the minutes.
Yes, we have regular and special called meeting minutes for, sorry, my computer's just not refreshing fast enough. November, I believe, 10th, 2020, and November 17th, 2020, special call Board of Education meeting minutes. Just a reminder to the board, that was the regular meeting, which had to be rescheduled because of weather.
Okay. Are there any corrections, board, to these, for either one of these meetings? You have any corrections? If there are no correction, would like to get a motion to approve the regular and special call meeting minutes. So moved.
Second.
Has been moved and second that the special and regular call minutes be approved for the November 10th and November 17th meetings. Are you ready for questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We also have the closed session meeting minutes for the same dates, November 10th, 2020, and November 17th, 2020, special call.
Okay. So that we make a different motion for those?
Yes, that's a different motion.
Okay. November.
10th and 17th, 2020.
Now, this is for the closed session though, correct?
These are closed.
Okay, second for the closed session.
We have a motion and a second that the minutes for the special call meeting also be approved. Question? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
At this time, we make a are there any need to be removed, anything need to be moved from the consent agenda? Is there anything that needs to be moved from the consent agenda? If none, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second. It has been moved and second that the consent agenda be approved. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Moving on. Dr. Gore at this time will share information about the transition from the high school 6-week grading period. Transition to the high school 6-week grading period.
Madam Chair, Vice Chair, members of the board, as you know, we made a presentation this afternoon with a recommendation to move or transition in second semester for our traditional high schools from a 9-week reporting period to a 6-week reporting period. At the direction of the board, we received some feedback and asked teachers to provide input about drivers and restrainers by school. Only the school level distinction is not so much important. It was just trying to make sure that we had some, didn't have overlap and folks' comments didn't get inadvertently deleted. As you can see from the information that I've provided you, which is approximately 15 pages worth of feedback, teachers focused mostly on the restrainers. There was a great deal, and I have not had the chance to go through this systematically, but a great deal of feedback that was provided about IEP goals, as well as a great deal of misunderstanding about, and I shouldn't say misunderstanding, but concern from teachers about the fact that this is not holding students accountable. A lot of the comments were revolving around that. This is not necessarily about holding students accountable. It's just helping our students to, one, understand how their final grade is calculated, two, give additional formal reporting periods for that purpose, but also for parent communication. And then to make sure that our students, our high school students especially, have a good transition from high school into their post-secondary futures. As I mentioned this afternoon, Currently, our grading periods are calculated as 37.5 for first 9 weeks, 37.5 for second 9 weeks, and 25% for the final exam. I will say, one of the questions that was asked this afternoon was, are there other districts that use this grading scheme? And there are in our region, Onslow County, Pitt County, and Carteret County at the high school level use a 6-week grading period reporting structure. And because there was just not enough time to find this, the only other county I was able to find that has that is Union County, which is in the western part of the state near the Charlotte area. But all of these use this grading period structure, particularly at the 9 through 12 level. Feedback from the teachers also revolved around giving them some time to consider implementing this and specifically giving them until next school year, the 21-22 school year. So those are options that would be available. I think we do see benefits for our students in having 3 6-week grading periods and a final exam. This is obviously not a unique situation because other districts do it. I am sensitive, and especially as we heard the feedback earlier from one of our former educators, that we want to make sure that we're listening to the feedback of our teachers. I do, as I said before, continue to think that this is beneficial for students, but there is significant energy for considering a delay in implementing this policy until the 21-22 school year. So I would put that in front of the board for discussion and or consideration.
I think there's a lot of merit to it, and I think the timing is not great. And I understand that it's also, we're having to make decisions to try to help students during COVID, at a clip. Things are not happening in the nice little packages that we normally do. However, I'm not convinced that this is going to, especially when they can see their grades on PowerSchool. I'm not sure that this is a fight that's going to help us right now. I think explaining it to teachers, getting some feedback from some of the people that are using it already in the other districts, high school teachers that like it, how it's working, that kind of feedback, where that our people can be more engaged versus feeling like we forced it on them right now. That's where I am.
I will also say there is a misconception, just to be clear. I just want to clear up the misconception. The misconception is that teachers or parents do not have access to students' grades. They do in Canvas and through PowerSchool and that type of thing. It is how we calculate the final grade that we're advocating making a change to, and I receive that, but I do want that misconception to be cleared up. I think another consideration, and I'm sorry to interrupt and I'll stop after this is an opportune time. We've learned a great deal again from the pandemic to have a conversation about grading and really what assignments are worth, not just the student's time to complete, but the teacher's time to assess. And so this can be a conversation that we engage in over the next several months to improve maybe not just this, but other things moving forward.
After just glancing at some of the comments, I prefer that we not initiate it this year. That's my preference. I'm looking at this, and this is just one of the many comments. This teacher says, there was a time when effective teaching meant that the student was working harder than the teacher. We require them to think, not feel emboldened. We were facilitators of learning. Additional work for teachers does not help students. Teaching students accountability would be more beneficial to society. I think the statement that sticks out in my mind is the teaching students accountability. So whether we go with 3 weeks or 6 weeks or 9 weeks, we still have to teach students to be accountable and to take ownership of their learning. And so that's, and I know it's a different year. We all know it's a different time. And we all want to find ways to make it better for students, better for teachers, better for parents, to make a win-win situation. I'm not sure that going to the 6th week at this point is going to make it a win-win situation for everybody. Those are my thoughts about that.
I voted no as well, Madam Chair. I don't think, again, we've given teachers sufficient time to have valid input, nor us getting this given us sufficient time to truly reflect. We had that very articulate former teacher say, we're not being heard. We're feeling undervalued. So at this point, I wouldn't even want to lock us into delaying it a year. I say we revisit it in a year after we've had enough input from the teachers and find out what's going on. Madam Chair?
Yes,
I
ma'am.
would prefer it to start next year, but like one of the teachers from New Bern High School was talking about, the 9-week calendar was created when students were attending 8 classes a day all year long. The school system moved back to block scheduling. It increased the daily pace for each class. This resulted in students becoming very far behind in a short time frame and before anyone even notices. Reducing the grading period to 6 weeks will work to realign the grades feedback balance, while it will cause a lot of modifications. So I think if we hold on to it and not necessarily change it right now because teachers are varied, but if we hold on to it and look at implementing it, next fall semester, it would be something to consider, because we're not going to change the block schedule. And I mean, they do cover a ton of material they're covering a year's worth of material in a semester. So I mean, that's a lot of ground that these high school kids are covering, especially.
You're talking about for the blocks, because we are on the block schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And if you will look at over a period of time, when the block schedule has been in effect, I think came in maybe the 92 or 93 school year, or 93 or 94. So since that time, we have been doing the block schedule. Okay, the block schedule has not been bad for us. It has not been bad for us. It has not been bad over the years using the block schedule. I think what has interrupted all of it, what has interfered right now is the COVID situation. I don't think it's the block schedule that caused our kids to fail. I think it's what we have to deal with now as a result of COVID. We have been top among the counties in North Carolina once upon a time. We just have to get back there, and it's a lot of reasons why we're not there. But I don't think it's because of the block schedule. I just don't see it being the block schedule. I remember when the block schedule came in, and we thought it was great. The kids, it worked out. It worked out. I don't think the block schedule is our problem. I don't think it is. I think all the other things that we have no control over is causing us not to right now at this period of time. Because the way things are now, 6 weeks or 9 weeks, we still have problems in the system. And it's a matter of opinion. Some teachers say yes, some are saying no. The ECP teachers definitely don't want it. Even if we did something, even if we were to go along with it, I think we would have to accommodate the ECP teachers another way as well. So I think it's at this point, this is something that we're just looking at. I think it's too soon right now to say, yes, we want to do it. And I think we need to do a little bit more benchmarking with other places before we decide that. See, I mean, there are more counties who are not doing it than what they are doing. Is that right? Ms. King? Ma'am, you got something to say?
No, Ms. B. Smith.
I'm sorry, Ms. Smith. Okay.
Yes, I would like to say something. I think that this is an idea that we don't need to toss aside. Someone said, let's put it away until next year. Well, if we put it away until next year, we're going to come upon the same situation. So I think that we need to have our teachers look at this and study it this year and consider all options and see if they think it would work for them. Because I think that we are not all coming from a place of clarity, not completely understanding what's expected in this process. So I think that maybe there should be a study and find out the options here. And then if we do that, maybe we'll be prepared to start next year if teachers decide to do so. But if we just put it away, we're going to come right back to where we are now.
I want to thank you, Dr. Doyle, for flipping on a dime, because that was something we asked of you that you did not have to do. Right. So we do appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Because we were thrown on the bus, you know, a couple times when we jumped and made a decision without consulting our stakeholders. I don't see anything wrong with the grading policy or the restructuring of the grading policy, but timing is everything.
Absolutely.
And I can speak from a teacher who on March the 13th had to switch on a dime and became a virtual teacher. And after being a virtual teacher, and if I was a virtual teacher today, meaning virtual and face-to-face, and one more thing was handed to me, I would probably lose it, because that is a lot. If you haven't done it, you have no idea what it is like. It is a whole different planet of instruction. And I think that's where our teachers are. The other thing that I'm hearing and that I'm feeling from our teachers is, it's not the grading period that's the problem. It is several layers, like a lack of parental input, students who are not taking the grade seriously, teachers who are giving too many assignments where a child can't dig themselves out. So I agree with Ms. B. This is a work that we need to, we need to calculate on it right now and begin to, pull back some of those layers to see what is causing our students to be unsuccessful or to not be as successful as they can be, and then we can begin to work forward. But I do want to thank you, because this was a lot and it was quick. Yeah, but we appreciate it.
I appreciate our teachers giving us feedback.
Yes.
Well, and beyond the feedback, I thank you for just coming at us with things to try to make it better.
Yeah.
And some of them we go, yeah, and some of them we go, whoa. But I appreciate the fact that you never stop bringing them to it, that you keep trying. That's all we can do right now. And I appreciate the fact that you haven't thrown your hands up, that you keep bringing it forward.
That's all I have.
Any more comments about this? But I think we all agree that it's not a bad idea. We just don't think it's right.
Timing.
The timing is not good for us right now. Not to say that it's not something that we cannot discuss in the future, but today or the next semester, we don't think it's the time that we're ready for it.
I received that. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
But
you.
we appreciate that. We used a lot. We did get this together for you.
It was.
And we thank the teachers for their input as well. Okay. We on the superintendent report,
Chairman's report.
Chairman's report. Ms. Smith, we just go back to the goal again.
We don't have any goal.
Okay. Okay. Well, then it's time, we've done the public input. Is it time to go to closed session?
Actually, Chairman, the question right now is, how do you want to handle the public input that was received this evening? And there are 5 options in your policy. One is that you can respond on behalf of the board. One is that you can direct administration to respond, refer the issue to a committee, refer the issue to administration, or place the issue on the agenda for a future meeting.
What was yours, Ms. Smith? Ms. King?
To put it on, you said to read the last one again?
Place the issue on the board's agenda for a future meeting.
Well, mine would be 2 though. Mine would be respond to her.
Definitely.
From, and then put the issues on.
There should be some discussion.
Yeah, because that was heavy.
And our language, we had a transcript of what she said.
Yeah.
I've asked her to send that to us.
What I was going to ask. I wish we had a transcript. And there was a couple of things that she said to me that was very troubling that I heard, but there were so many items until I think that we need to respond, because I I find it difficult hearing that some board members address the teachers attitude, having bad attitudes. I've never heard it in a spotlight meeting. That was never in a meeting that I've ever been in.
Never been in one that I've been in.
It's ever happened, but I think that we might need the entire list of information before we start to try to address these issues. Some of them, they really need to be addressed.
She said that she would share the, what she read to us. I think she was reading from her phone,
I hope
and
she
she said
does.
she's gonna email it to me and I'll share it with the board.
Thank you. I think we need those, there were a lot of concerns. And I think that we need, as a board, we need to address them. We need to
Yes.
talk about them.
Some of the concerns that she shared, I brought Dr. Doyle a letter last Thursday,
Yes.
was it? I brought Dr. Doyle a letter last Thursday. It came to me in an email. There was not a name attached, a couple of initials and some letters, .gmail or whatever. That doesn't tell me who you are. I did respond to the email and asked the sender to please contact me personally so, you know, we could talk about some of their concerns, and some of them were very similar to what Ms. O'Neill mentioned tonight. So I'll be happy to provide you guys, I think Dr. Doyle
I have
has
a copy and I will provide it. It's part of, we've logged it as a concern.
Yeah, it is, and it's not just peculiar to you that you're receiving these comments. I think many of us are receiving very similar comments, and so I agree, we do need to discuss.
So what we'll do, Dr. Doyle, is we will, I'll respond to her on behalf of the board, and I will let her know that I will respond to her, but we would also place the issue on the agenda. There's something, once you give us a copy of what has been said, give us time to look at it and study it and kind of let it dissolve.
There are several issues.
We need to talk about it. It needs to be discussed, and we'll go from there.
All right.
But I will contact her. I will let her know. I will contact her. And then we don't know what we, we didn't, so we are concerned.
Yes.
And that we heard her concern. Absolutely. And that we would address those concerns. As a school board. Are there any being items? Did we share it tonight? Do we have any being items? I don't think so. We have one. Okay. Did we do our celebration before we go into closed session? All right. All right, we are ready to do our celebrations. It's the last meeting. What do we have to celebrate tonight? We have a lot to celebrate. I celebrate that we have our 2 returning board members, and celebrate that we have our new board member, Ms. Kelly Hughes. Oh, 3, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So I celebrate that we have our 3 returning board members.
We're gonna change this.
And that we have our, have added, Ms. Hughes to our, board family, so I celebrate that tonight.
I'll go. I appreciate Dr. Doyle kind of talking with me when I have questions, and I appreciate everybody's kindness since I've been here. And Ms. Clark's just so funny. And I really, really appreciate that. And then I have personal celebrations. So we all know that I had a litter of puppies, kind of. And my son will be home this weekend, and I haven't seen him for 14 months. So, and my daughter will be 16 Friday. Pray for me. So those are my celebrations.
Right. It's a great celebration.
Do I just go round table? Then Clark, we're gonna go round table.
Well, I was pretty happy about this, but
We can tell.
I've already been playing tennis.
Clark, go next.
I celebrate all of you. Happy to be here. I see that we're embracing our differences. We're listening as allies. I celebrate our new chairperson and vice chairperson to help with the transition. I embrace the fact that we're amplifying the voice of parents and teachers and students. So it's going to be an exhilarating, exciting, invigorating year.
Wish I had that much energy. But I celebrate, it's a photograph. Somebody sent me a photograph that showed up on Twitter of Miss Freeble sitting on the doorstep of a student in a neighborhood that, I mean, I've been told for years not to go in, and I've ignored them because y'all know I don't listen to anybody. But it's a neighborhood I don't know that I've ever seen principal even enter. And she was on his doorstep, sitting on the ground in her dress clothes, you know, sitting on the ground with his students' papers out, helping. I don't know if it was his schedule. I don't know if it was his work.
One of our principals.
Our principals
Yes,
have
and
like
Havelock High.
yeah. And I mean, it just brought me to tears because that's a neighborhood that is near and dear to my heart. And, you know, I recognize the face. And so I just think that is an astounding statement for her and her leadership style, that she's not sending other people out. Well, I'm sure she's sending other people out as well, but she went to this child's home and sat with him. And I bet you that will change the trajectory of that student forever. It was a beautiful photograph, and I just celebrate her leadership style. I just celebrate her.
Oh, great. I want to celebrate Brent Manning and West Vanceboro Church of God. Their learning hub has grown wings, and it is flying. And what I really celebrate about him is that he is trying to be proactive concerning what may happen in the weeks to come. And he is up all hours of the night thinking of ways to continue to support our elementary students. And I am so grateful that he's not waiting for things to happen, that he's trying to get on the front side and make things happen. And I told him that I appreciate it, but I want to openly, you know, celebrate him and his efforts. When I visit that hub, he's like, this is next to heaven. You know, he is not just overseeing, but he's teaching. He's in the room teaching children, and you know, the parents are saying, why are you teaching that? And he told them, because I'm a teacher. This is what we do. So I appreciate that, and I celebrate, you know, him on tonight. I also want to celebrate, if I can, that my daughter and her cohort were awarded a $5,000 Bates Foundation grant Academy to do a classroom makeover for their creative dramatics classroom. So we are very excited that she can dance all over.
I celebrate I think it was Vanceboro students and their presentation of their character words tonight. I think they did absolutely a fantastic job. And I also celebrate the Board of Commissioners having enough confidence in me to allow me to be a part of that board. Right, we do too. And I celebrate the support of all of you. And that
yeah, everybody's gone, but those Megan, everybody's gone, but Megan and Myra.
Myra. Ms. Myra, what you celebrate tonight? Good. Brother Doyle?
There's a lot to celebrate in this season. The first one is that we're 10 months through a pandemic, and we are not going to have 10 more months. The second one is I'm going to celebrate Ms. B. Smith. I've said this before publicly, but she is a wise person, and her wisdom is going to be dearly missed by me, but I think also by our students, staff, and this board. I'm excited for her future with the Craven County Board of Commissioners, and I know that she's going to do good work there. I really do celebrate our students their families, and our staff for their resilience. It has been a very difficult road, but I sincerely appreciate all of them and our school leaders for sure.
Well, thank you for our celebrations, and we see we all had a lot to be celebrating for. All right, Paul?
It just occurred to me, I have a couple of celebrations. One, I heard today that the Rotary Club did the bell, the kettle that are at the mall. And they said that this, they reported out today that this is probably the best giving that they'd ever seen, that it was just amazing. People were so different. And it's reflective of the community that we're part of. And I think that's a celebration of our community. Also, we just finished up the fundraising drive for one of our partnership organizations, the YMCA. And they likewise experienced in these worst of times in which they had to lay off people, in which the doors had to be closed for a period of time. But their most significant fundraising, again, going back to our community and how it supports these needs that we've got. All of this money that is raised for the Y goes to scholarships to help those who can't afford membership, all of it. So to have that increased by another $100,000 is just an incredible opportunity for our families out there. And I do hope we'll get back to the point that we can be in the after-school programs and things like that, that our community partners, as you've referenced, are doing such a phenomenal job with. If there's ever a time that we've needed it, certainly now. So.
Thank you. So this concludes our celebration. At this time, I would entertain a motion to enter into closed session to consider the qualifications, competency, performance, or position of appointment of a public officer or employee or prospective public officer or employee, North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A6 to consult with our attorney in order to protect the attorney-client privilege between the attorney and the public body, which is privileged, is hereby acknowledged. North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A3.
So moved. Second.
We will.
All in favor.
Closed session.
All in favor.
Oh, I'm sorry, all in favor? Aye. So we're ready to go to closed session.
Okay, everybody, we're scheduled for a 60-minute closed session. We will restart the meeting once the closed session has been completed.